On BBC Radio Leicester, 10:45. Hello, Summaya with you. Next, I've got one book for your bookshelf. Now, there is nothing better than getting into a really good book, right? One of the simple pleasures in life. But I don't know about you. Sometimes I find it quite hard to find something that that really sort of keeps my interest for more than the first chapter. I am that person that has multiple unfinished books, a whole bookshelf full of unfinished books. But this one sounds really, really, really intriguing. Author Tony McMahon has published a brand new book out today that proposes a link between Jack the Ripper, listen to this, Jack the Ripper, and Abraham Lincoln. He's here to tell us all about it. Hey, Tony, how you doing? What's the book called, and how on earth did you come to write it?
It's called Jack the Ripper and Abraham Lincoln.
Okay,
as you said.
Simple and to the point.
Basically, it's about a celebrity doctor. He's a really well-known celebrity doctor in America at the time, Francis Tumblety, who is implicated in two of the greatest crimes of the 19th century. He's arrested in 1865 over the assassination of President Lincoln and held in prison, but he gets off that. And then 25 years later, same guy is arrested as a suspect in the Jack the Ripper case. So it's a remarkable coincidence. But there's a string of crimes in between, before and after.
Is this a true story?
It is absolutely true. Footnoted to death. My research is, very thorough. And I'm an ex-journalist. By the way, I'm an ex-BBC producer, news producer. So, of course, it's true.
And thorough, of course. So is there any, do you think there's any link between those two cases?
I think, the link is him. I mean, he is an extraordinary character. You know, he's implicated in 2 manslaughter cases, fraud, illegal abortions. As I say, he's a kind of quack doctor, but he's also this very larger-than-life character who just, I think he's basically a psychopath. He's psychotic. And it's not helped, basically. I think he has syphilis towards the end of his life as well, which doesn't help his mind very much. But he's got a history of violence, history of misogyny that's well recognized. And I think he is as guilty as the day is long in both cases. And people thought he was definitely Jack the Ripper in America when he was arrested by Scotland Yard. You know, everybody who'd ever known him said, "Oh yeah, him. He's Jack the Ripper."
So why did you want to tell this story, Tony?
Well, do you know what? I appear on a few TV documentaries as a kind of TV historian. I've been doing that for a few years, do all sorts of subjects. And I was on an American documentary talking about Francis Tumblety, who's the only Irish-American suspect as Jack the Ripper. And just as I started to research him, they weren't aware he'd also been arrested for the Abraham Lincoln assassination. I thought, this is extraordinary. You know, how do we explain this? But also, I also discovered he was very openly gay, I have to say. I'm Irish by heritage. I'm also LGBT, so I already started thinking, well, how does this man operate? What motivated him? You know, if he did kill a number of women in Whitechapel, how does a gay man come to do that? Why is he doing that? So his motives, his personality, who he was, and just the fact that as I researched, I just kept finding out more and more crimes and scandals. And this guy was a larger-than-life character. You know, to paint a picture, he had this kind of, medical business selling herbal cures. In every city where he operated, he'd ride down Main Street in this ridiculous cavalry uniform on horseback with a valet dressed as a Native American giving out leaflets about his herbal cures on one side. And all these greyhounds. And he was, quite a character, very well known, kind of a new celebrity, a new kind of celebrity. But like celebrities in our own time, he had a sinister side, a very sinister side. And the police records, the court records, they all show he was done for a string of crimes, including Lincoln, Jack the Ripper, 2 manslaughters, 1 illegal abortion, lots of fraud, lots of alleged obscenity. Basically he cruised a lot. He was often arrested cruising. So, this guy was always on the wrong side of the law. But it's a fascinating story.
So it's not a light read, but it is a fascinating read by the sounds of it. I mean, what are we going to be reading when we pick it up?
I've read it. I hope I've written it in a way that's an easy read. Yeah. I've tried to make it heavy. Now, everybody loves the Gilded Age, don't they? And that kind of Victorian era and foggy streets, cobbled streets, and so on. So I've tried to make it, something that really immerses you in that strange, far-off time,
And crime is a massive thing, whether we listen to true crime podcasts or, there is a massive, probably one of the most popular genres there is, right? But we've got an opportunity to hear that story and get it lifted off the page, I suppose. Is that something generally, Tony, that you're quite drawn to, those mysterious types of tales embedded in history?
Oh, God. I mean, as you say, true crime is absolutely enormous. I mean, when's it ever going to stop? There's endless documentaries on, I have to say, on serial killers and so on. It just doesn't, and a huge female audience, obviously, for murder and true crime as well. So, I mean, on my father's side of the family, I've got quite a few police officers. Actually, my father was a probation officer, so law and order was always there in my background. But yeah, I mean, look, it's a dark story. There's all these murders, of course. I think he was implicated in other murders, a string of murders in Texas, which I explain that link as well. It's gripping reading. It's at the same time, of course, we have to be very sympathetic to the victims and understand, the appalling things that happened to them. But this man is difficult to ignore. And he's far more fascinating to me than a member of the royal family or a Freemason. There's other people who've been considered as Jack the Ripper suspects. He's somebody, I think, in our own age where we have this cult of celebrity and, influencers, but we also know some of them have got a very sinister side. We kind of can find it very relatable. And so I just think that for anybody reading it who follows this story, you are not going to be able to put it down. It is a page turner.
What's the name of the book and where can we get it, Tony?
Well, the book is called Jack the Ripper and Abraham Lincoln. And I'll read it's One Man Links the Two Greatest Crimes of the 19th Century. There we are, I forgot my own subheading. But Jack the Ripper and Abraham Lincoln, published by Troubador. You can get it on Amazon. And for the next 5 days, Summaya, this is an exclusive to your listeners, it's free. The ebook is free on Amazon. So if you get there before Saturday, you can download it for free.
Brilliant.
We all love Come on.
We all love free stuff. And a great story as well. I could listen to you all day. It's fascinating. Tony, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you.